All right, Jake, I'm going to start this show by quoting Jazz Chisum post-game. Absolutely loved it, and he was awesome again for back-to-back days. So our audience should be pretty happy today with Jazz, okay? Jazz said post-game, I feel like any team that thinks they're better than us, they should know when we step on the field, we're coming with relentlessness. We're coming to step on necks. Isn't that exactly what we've been asking for the whole year? And I love that this is the quote. Obviously, I like it far more when we're winning. But the Yankees, Jake, absolutely stepped on necks in this series so far. We beat the Boston Red Sox 5-3, already securing a series win. A series win that we essentially said we had to have. We weren't necessarily expecting it. Jake, I know you predicted one, but there were a lot of people who came into this pessimistic, and I completely get it. I actually sympathize with it, and I was pretty pessimistic coming into this Boston series myself. You dropped the first two games at home to Detroit. We called that a good team who really wasn't playing great baseball at the time. Flaherty's on the mound. We're missing, we're not going to see Skubal, but you're going to see Casey Mize. Two solid arms. That's what we called it, Jake. And then they seemingly punt game 3, and that's the game we win against Johnny Holpen. And Jake, you love that. Johnny Holpen. I couldn't even blame the fans for not being impressed with that win again. But then we hit the airport, and Luis Gil is going to be starting game 1, right? Control issues out the yin-yang. We want to see what's going to happen with Luis Gil against a contender, against a team that has our number. Well, he throws 6 no-hit innings towards a win, and then we walk into today, Jake, a game that, again, you said we were going to win, which is great. Love the optimism, but we weren't worried about Max Fried. That wasn't our problem. What we were worried about was this offense against Brian Bello. That was going to be the biggest question mark. What the hell are these guys going to do against a good arm? They haven't done anything the past several weeks. Well, we got our answer, and I couldn't be more proud to read this off. 5 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 walks. We took good at-bats today, and then Jazz obviously was the straw that broke the camel's back. Hit his 29th home run of the year. He's getting closer to that 30-30 season. If he's going to play good baseball down the stretch, then I'll root for it, right? 3 for 5 night. Aaron Judge yet again delivers 2 for 3. Jake, look at that. He's performing in big games, which I expect absolutely no one to give him credit. Well, we will on this podcast. Scoring 2 runs himself, and I'm going to get to that in a second. And then what I thought was the biggest run of the game. Jake, you text me right away. My phone buzzed not 20 seconds later. You said that Cody Bellinger, that double they hit Oppo off the wall to score the future MVP and make it 5-3. I thought it was the biggest run. We needed it. And when you're throwing Bednar out there, I felt like it was lights out at that point, and I feel like Boston knew that. So, and by the way, Jake, we were almost right. Weaver, Williams, Cruz, Bednar, all pitched in this one. They did their jobs. The Yankees still sit, unfortunately, 3 games back in the division. Baltimore just crapped the sheets in the 9th inning. They gave up 3 runs, and it sucks. But this isn't the end of the world, Jake, because Boston, if you go beat Boston, that's the tough part of our schedule with 14 games remaining, whereas Toronto's got to see Boston later on. They still have that test to go past. And by the way, guys, if you're just joining us, please be sure to subscribe to Yankees Unloaded and like this video. Helps us out a ton. So, Jake, I'm going to kick it to you. Now that the Yankees have walked into Boston, they've won both games that not a lot of people who like this team thought we were going to win. There's 14 games remaining in the season. Do you feel any different now, walking into game 3 on Sunday, than you did before it started? How do you feel now?
Well, I feel great. I feel like this team can absolutely win the World Series. I do. I think this was literally taking the monkey off your back and bludgeoning it. And that's what they did. They don't even have to, as far as I'm concerned, they don't have to get the sweep. I want the sweep, but they don't have to. This is a huge win for the New York Yankees. Absolutely huge. And, it was one of those like all hands on deck type of deals. I actually wanted to bring up something that I sent you. Thought it was really cool. And it kind of goes to show you we've been seeing a different baseball team. We just have. Like, people can act like the Yankees get blown out by the Tigers. Then the first time, it's like you and I are like, all right, well, it's one game. The second time, it felt a little concerning, right? But everything since has gone exactly like I said it would. They're going to win the third game. They're going to get back on the high side. They're going to win convincingly. And then they're going to win 2 in Boston. I think they lose on Sunday. With that said, though, what I'm getting at about them being a different team is Gary Phillips had a really interesting tweet. The Yankees stole 3 bases last night. And we're talking about last night.
Yes.
They've stolen 51 since July 30th, which is the most in baseball. That's the day Jazz Chisum started swiping again after a nagging groin injury kept him from running much for 39 games. The Yanks also acquired Jose Caballero the following day. Caballero in that time frame has the 3rd most, and obviously he still has the most stolen bases in the MLB. Caballero has the 3rd most stolen bases since July 30th, and he's not an everyday player or close to it until recently. That is really telling. I think this team has gone away from the station to station, and they're actually, and it's ironic because they didn't even swipe a base today, but this is a different team. And I'm not going to sit here and give Boone all the credit in the world, but I like that they have made adjustments. And that right there shows you, since July 30th, they've made tons of adjustments in that sense. And, today, Jazz Chisum, he is one of those streaky hitters. Looks like he's on the good streak. And he had a huge game today. Bellinger had what I will call one of the best at-bats of the year. I don't see the future. I can't tell you that they're going to win the World Series, but I can tell you, regardless if they do or not, that's going to be one of the top 5 at-bats of the season. That was absolutely insane against one of the more dominant pitchers. The way Michael Kay worded it is this. Aroldis Chapman went X amount of innings, I totally forgot, without giving up a hit.
It was plenty innings.
He said it's basically like 2 perfect games. When you think about it like that, and obviously it's not really, right? Like starting is way different. But I love the rationale behind it and trying to explain it really is like 2 perfect games. You have a closer that isn't even giving up hits. We talk about it all the time. I don't care if you give up a hit. I don't care if you give up 3 hits. If you don't give up runs, I don't care, right? But he's doing the pretty things. He's not even giving up hits. So, yeah, I wanted to give a big shout out to Cody Bellinger on that. And then the last thing I'll do before I send it back to you, because, obviously we could talk about plenty more, but I want to give a huge shout out to Caballero, who looks to me like he's ready to become the starting shortstop. And I'm not guaranteeing that Volpe is about to get DJ LeMahieu'd, but I wouldn't be surprised if Volpe got DJ LeMahieu'd and actually was not on this postseason roster.
Actually, what's a premise that I haven't really seen introduced anywhere, and I understand why. Like, there's a ton going on. But when people talk about having great teams or just really good teams, you have to have great players, and that's a given. All great teams have great players. But also, there has to be role players that know their role players, and they stick to their role, and they stick to their guns. And that gun is, I'm a role player, and I'm not stepping outside that lane. I genuinely believe this. I told you guys, I think Anthony Volpe eventually will become a good player in baseball. I think he'll be here a while. He's not as bad as what people think he is. I think he's playing hurt, but that's not an excuse for his play. Having said all this, I think the way he plays is trying to become something that's outside of a role player for the Yankees, and that can't happen. Caballero steps in and does his job. He's thinking, well, can I drop down a bunt in this situation? Does it make sense? He's thinking, if I get to first base, I'm trying to get to second base because that's my value to this team. Jazz Chisum right now, and you've seen the pop. He hit his 29th home run tonight. But having said all that, he's finding other ways to contribute, not just by leaving the yard. He's stealing bases. He attempted to steal 3 bags yesterday. 2 of them were successful. 1 of them we complained about. But the point is, we need role players. We need guys to agree, I'm going to let Aaron Judge do Aaron Judge stuff, right? All the Soto, Judge, and all the big sexy stuff, great. We're going to pay them the big bucks to do it. I'm going to do the dirty work. How many Yankees are willing to do that stuff? Caballero is. And so I think a lot of times when you're building rosters, people say, well, is Volpe a better player when he's healthy, or is it Caballero? Well, the Yankees would have told you at the beginning of the year, this is Anthony Volpe. This is a great defender. This is someone we think will get better, all types of stuff. But they never talk about that the Yankees need role players around the field willing to play those roles. And if they step outside those roles, they're not efficient. They're just not. And so that's why, Jake, I'm so excited to see players affecting the game without hitting home runs. We have to have it. We cannot win anything without it. So when you see them on the field, I'll be interested to see what Aaron Boone does in the coming weeks, because you've started to hear some murmurs of how they're going to utilize Volpe down the stretch. In the conversation, and I get it, they don't want to just kick it to the media and say, well, he's never going to play again, because that would be wild to say. I'm just going to focus on their actions. Does Caballero stay out at shortstop? Do they actually make sense of their decision making? That's how I'll judge Boone.
Yeah, and I think that's totally fair. I thought, like today, it's tough to not have Stanton in there. I actually agreed with playing Dominguez. Stanton has been kind of iffy lately, I know he had a home run the other day, but I think there is a point where you have to sit him, and I will be the first one to tell you I was abusing the hell out of that, like where I was just like, play Stanton every day. And Michael Kay has said that, as you've brought up multiple times. Yes. I get that, but I do think in order for Stanton to be Stanton, you do have to give him those off days. And in order for Jason Dominguez to be available in the postseason and be ready at the dish in case you need him, you have to get him at bats. And so I like that, Dominguez played today. Great throw at third base. It's funny. It comes with a caveat. How does that ball fall when you are as explosive of an athlete as Jason Dominguez?
No one knows, but that's the one tool he has.
Yes.
He can run like a bat out of hell, and he's got a strong arm. That's where the tools come into play. I'm not sure where he was going, because you just have to know the scouting report. But having said that, big time throw. Have to have it. Just
of
have
course.
to. And this is how we're going to win. So like you said, Jason Dominguez does have to get some level of reps. He's not good enough to permanently replace a Giancarlo Stanton for postseason at-bats, because I think the Yankees do know if we keep Giancarlo in the mix here, no one can be hotter in October than Giancarlo Stanton. So they're just going to say, well, let's get him off his feet. As you mentioned, he hasn't really been swinging the hottest bat of late, but they also remember what Giancarlo Stanton looked like 3 weeks ago, and they want to see that player. And how do you find that out? Well, it's probably not throwing him out in left field every day at Fenway. So Jason Dominguez probably should have played today. I agree with you. And I was happy to see him contribute, because just because some people think you don't have a role for next year, it's not next year yet. You have a role right now, and that role is to get Stanton off his feet, find a way to contribute without leaving the yard. He did that today. So obviously, I'm pretty happy about this offense and what we did, defensively what we did. The game just plays a lot cleaner when you have a shortstop. Even with an error at short that we saw yesterday, right? Jazz made an error. The game just feels a little bit more clean right now for the Yankees, and will that continue? We have no idea. I know Caballero's not a future all-star or anything by any means, but pretty happy to see that. And Kyle, I see you, who's been a member for 6 months. I'm sure we'll hear you in the voicemails for our diamond level at the end of the show. Says, thank God they won today. I think the Yankees sweep tomorrow. Look at the tune changing from our audience. I love this. We will be a 1-0 win. That's lofty. Also, the damn Orioles suck. I agree. I tweeted that as well. I was definitely pissed.
They'll be ready to go against the Yankees, though.
Right. And someone actually told me, they said, well, they don't suck because you guys they said, oh, Baltimore, they took care of you. I said, well, Pittsburgh swept the Dodgers. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, but man, when you have a 2-run lead at home, you got to close the deal. So it sucked, and should win all 7 against them the rest of the year. Did not help us out today. Go Yankees. So Baltimore is a strong enough team to give you fits, but not a good enough team to go anywhere in this league. So that's where I have them. They should be taken seriously. The team you have to walk in and just disrespect, come in there and beat the brakes off them and have a position player pitching, is that Chicago series. So yeah, Kyle, appreciate you in the comments, man. Thank you. And Richmond B with the 5, thank you, says, do you think they can win playoff series under Boone without home field advantage? He's perfect with advantage. Well, you have to keep in mind, yes, it's ideal. Most teams in baseball, they go home when they're not playing at home in the postseason. That's just the odds for all teams, not just Aaron Boone's Yankees. So I want people to understand that in this sport, home field means everything. It just does. And having said that, Jake, didn't he just fly into Boston today and secure a series win? And I get it's not the playoffs and it's different and crowd will be different, all that. But this series was a playoff series for the Yankees. They cannot win the division if they give away 2 of 3 in this series. What do you think about that question? Do you think that Boone can go win without home field?
Yeah, I do. But think about this, though. Wait, this isn't Red Sox exclusive, though, right? This is just... Oh, no. Okay,
he's
I
talking
get
about
what they're
playoffs.
saying. They're just in general. Yeah,
Yes.
I still think they can. I do. I think the Yankees are still the most talented team in the AL. That nothing's changed that. I know the Tigers won the series. I think, a couple of those games were a little fluky. But, yeah, I really... The baseball that I'm seeing, the talent is starting to matter. Like Jazz Chisum being your 5th hitter in a lineup, sometimes a 7th hitter in the lineup. Look at what Jazz Chisum has put together. I mean, it's official. He's finished 162 games of his Yankee career. I don't know if you saw. 40 home runs, 48 stolen bases. I wanted to actually get your thoughts on that, but I'll wait until after I finish this point. Really, I think that the Yankees are one of the 3 most talented teams in the MLB. I think the Dodgers are the most talented, and then I think the Padres are the 2nd most talented, and then the Yankees. The Brewers, I don't think are as talented. I think they're just better right now. I think they have everybody playing. It's very reminiscent to a Stick Michael Yankees team, like early on, Buck Showalter, like that. That's what, like, kind of the all hands on deck approach where there's not like one star. And the Yankees, Dodgers, and Padres, to me, just have the most talent by far. And if they figure it out and they play, baseball that's conducive to winning, then you're looking at, a really fun October. Because I think if the 3 most talented teams, play their best baseball, the Yankees will be in the World Series and they'll be playing against the LA Dodgers.
Yeah, it's a matter of putting the pieces together. And that doesn't mean technically that you're close, because you can have all the talent in the world, but if players refuse to play their roles, and I can honestly tell you, that 04 team that obviously my dad played for, there was a lot, there was coaching saying, hey, guys, maybe we can drop down a bunt over here, and players, some of them refused. No, I'll just be the hero. And they obviously didn't say that. They didn't vocalize it. But you saw it on the field. Everybody was taking turns trying to play hero ball. And you look at Boston on the other side, and they're doing hit runs. They're throwing Dave Roberts at first base. And you look at Boston's team and you say, well, are they more talented than us? Perhaps not, but that's not the game. This isn't on a spreadsheet and then you spin the wheel. That's not baseball. Baseball is, do you have a manager that can pull the best out of your players and put everyone in the correct positions? And then we'll see how that goes. That's sports. That's not just baseball. It's all sports. So when you look up, and Jake, I know you're incredibly hopeful for this team. You are. And people look up and say, well, the Yankees just played Toronto in a series. Toronto, we've called them a good, not great team. Now, people take offense to that, and they say, well, they immediately say, oh, you don't think we're good. But they didn't listen to what we said. They are good. We also think we're good, just not elite. That's what we said. And when you look up and you see Boston, they lose Roman Anthony, well, that takes the wind out of their sails. It changes the feeling, according to our audience, of the actual series. And then, of course, you look up and say, well, Detroit and Tarek Skubal dealing with the injury. He's supposedly okay, which we're glad. But the Tigers, to your point, Jake, not a great team. They're not a great team. They're not scary. So if we see them in the postseason, if you play your brand of baseball, we're beating the Tigers. And if you don't, you're losing because they're still a good team. But having said that, we just beat Houston in Houston. And what everyone tell us, Jake, they're not good. Isn't that exactly what everyone said? Houston's not that good. Okay, well, it's Houston and Seattle in that division. That's the AL, ladies and gentlemen. I just listed you all of the contenders in the American League. How many great teams did I list you that you feel no one can beat? 0. All of these teams can be beat. So that's the exciting part, I think, for Aaron Boone, and to sort of put a cap and put a bow on this super chat, which is that there's no team other than, I think, Jake, you brought it up beautifully last episode. Milwaukee's the one team where you say that team's they're standing out. Milwaukee's the team where you go on the road, it's probably not what you want to see. That said, you're going to have to bring your best to beat that team. That is a great team, objectively speaking, right now. Oh, and by the way, before we get to the super, I apologize. You asked me a question about Jazz Chisum.
Yes,
and
the 40 and
the home
48.
runs. Right. So what was the question? Like, what exactly did you want me to answer?
Yeah, what's your take on that? Because you and I think, we're definitely in agreement the 30-30 season isn't that impressive. Like, I don't want to take away the feat entirely.
Right.
But I think the 40 home runs and 48 stolen bases in 162 games is really impressive.
Yeah. No, it shows the tools that he has, for sure.
Yeah.
And stolen bases are up in the game now, right? You have the new rules, and we don't want to make any excuses and just nullify all the stolen bases across baseball because it's fun to watch. That said, it's more so to judge Jazz Chisum. You just need to watch the game and, given his skill set, say, did he apply his skill set? The skill set I know he has, is he applying all those skills? I just think it goes deeper than hitting home runs and simply stealing bases. I think Jazz, if he's really getting hits, once you start to see that batting average start to creep up, more baseballs are in play. He's having less outs that you would call quality. We need more quality outs from Jazz. But what you've seen so far in this series, you don't need to go 2 for 3 every night. That's unrealistic. But you need to find ways to play smarter. And if he could do that, you could look up and say, he didn't need to go 40-40. That was a better season. We may see less home runs next year, right? Less stolen bases next year. But if he, plays smarter baseball, more people in our comments, I think, would be happy with Jazz Chisum. So obviously, great accomplishment. It's going to get him paid out the wazoo, regardless of where he plays. So good for him. But yeah,
it is going to, because
it's going to definitely help him get paid. No question.
The agent is going to be like, see that? 40-40. Even though it wasn't actually a 40-40 season, and that's literally the entire point that makes it, special, right? Because you have to stay healthy for a full season, which is something, Jazz needs to stay healthy. It's really that simple on that part. But I wanted to also bring up, the Yankees have won 14 of their last 19 games.
Right.
They've been, if not the hottest team in baseball, they've been one of them. Their 4 losses include a sweep. Well, no, it doesn't include the sweep against Boston because that's not the 19-game stretch. But the loss to Chicago 3-2, the loss to Houston 8-7, the loss to Toronto 7-1, and then the 2 losses against Detroit 12-2 and 11-1. But the Yankees, really a lot of impressive wins in close games. Not everything is a blowout, but they've also shown the ability to blow teams out as well. So now, tomorrow, with Garrett Crochet on the mound against Will Warren, I think we're going to see more of the same. I mean, I'm going to take Boston in this one, but I think it's going to be really close. I'd probably go 3-1.
I mean, we did have Kyle say 1-0. It kind of goes to show you, this is going to be it's going to have to be low scoring, and we're fine with that. But you also have to keep in mind, how likely is it that tomorrow's game is that low scoring for Boston, given the fact we're throwing road Will Warren out there? Still possible that he can pitch well, but to dominate, and then who's showing up behind Will Warren? It's most likely going to be Yarborough, and you're going to have to hope Yarborough shuts it down for multi-inning, and I think that's what we see tomorrow, believe it or not. When you look at the Yankees, Bednar's pitched multiple times in this series. You just saw Weaver. Maybe they go back to Weaver tomorrow. I'm not sure what they do. Cruz obviously pitched in back-to-back days. You won't see him tomorrow. So it's going to be interesting. I understand this is an all-hands-on-deck situation, but given the fact that we won games 1 and 2, and people perceive this as, well, they didn't move in the standings, we're still stagnant. No, not necessarily. We had to win this series because Toronto has their tough games ahead. We don't. These games mean everything. They just don't seem like difference makers right now. They will be, and people will start to really recognize that across baseball, because you know what people are going to say? Toronto fans are going to say, well, whoop-de-doo, they're beating the Chicago White Sox, who gave us the schedule to play Boston the final series of the year. Well, we told you about it a month and a half ago if you listen to Yankees Unloaded, but people thought that it's just time to beat our chest that you didn't move in the standings. No, these games mattered a ton. So Yuri with the 5, also a mod here. So Yuri, we appreciate you being here. Thank you. Says, I'm glad we took care of business. That's exactly what I would call it as well. Took care of business. Not often, Jake. We call it a business trip for the Yankees. It would be a huge statement if we sweep the Sox. Give Belly a carte blanche contract. Let's go, Yankees. Yeah, I would probably say that the contract's going to look pretty similar to what he's getting paid now. He's already making a pretty penny with the Yankees. And people keep in mind, he's making $25 million this year. It's actually the same amount we paid Josh Donaldson. I like this $25 million a lot better. But Jake, I would assume Cody Bellinger, could he extend this probably to $35, $36 million annually? Probably. But if you extend that contract 4 or 5 years, no one wants to have to go long contracts in baseball. We've seen how these contracts age, but you can't miss Cody Bellinger on this team. I don't care what you guys say about 6 years. What about 5, 6 years down the road? What's that deal going to look like? With all due respect, guys, I don't really care what these contracts look like when the players get out of their prime. I need big-time contribution during their prime. As long as that's going to be here for at least 2 to 3 seasons, I'm good on that player and having him stay here long-term. And Cody Bellinger absolutely deserves, and I would like to believe he'd want to come back. He deserves to be a Yankee for the long haul.
I agree, and I think he will. I think it's going to be very similar to Altuve. Just get me back to New York. That's my prediction. Yep. I think he's going to make it very easy for the Yankees to negotiate, and it's going to be that simple. I think he'll be back, probably $35, $40 million a year.
And you say that because he's a Boris client, is that correct?
Yeah, but I think he understands the gravity of the situation here. He understands that he wants to be in pinstripes. I think the whole, him being around his father on, Yankee old timer day, I feel like that had some pull.
He definitely seems to get it. And by the way, I have to ask this. I have to.
Yeah.
Do you think he's looking at what Juan Soto's doing right now with the Mets? Now, mind you, Juan Soto's still, I know it's not the exact season that he wanted, but he will have stolen over 30 bags. He's going to hit close to 40 homers. I guess in hindsight, it's still a really solid season for Soto, but the Mets are absolute dog water right now. He said, oh no, I'm going to the Mets. It's a baseball decision. I like the baseball and the direction this team's headed. Well, he really, if we're being honest, he left for the dollar. Okay, well, that's fine. You're allowed to make that decision. Having said that, Cody Bellinger, technically, if he was leaving, would more than likely be leaving for more money. Would Cody Bellinger, who I already think wants to stay here, I don't think he would do this. Do you think players around baseball are going to be looking at Juan Soto and say, well, maybe it's not the smartest decision for me to take top dollar? Maybe I can just take a lot of money with a team that can protect me in a way.
I think it absolutely is going to happen because I think the Mets are probably going to go hard after Bellinger. They're probably going to go hard after Grisham, and they're probably going to go hard after Kyle Tucker.
Tucker? Yeah.
And I think Kyle Tucker is going to take less money and go to the Dodgers.
Yeah. Yep. I can see that.
They'll stand on business. They'll be like, we're willing to pay you a lot, but we can't go as high as the Mets. And basically, you shouldn't want to go to the Mets because they didn't make the playoffs. We make the playoffs every year. And the thing about us is we have the rings to prove it. So, yeah,
that's a fair argument. It absolutely is a fair argument.
I mean, you bring it up all the time with what's his face, former Met, who's just not very good.
Who?
Conforto.
Oh yeah, with the Dodgers, and they signed him to a 1-year deal. They signed him to that deal very similar to the Teoscar Hernandez type thing. Obviously, different levels of player, clearly. But Teoscar Hernandez signed a 1-year deal. Exactly what you saw with Bregman with the Boston Red Sox. He technically can opt in, but these are all 1-year deals, so they can reset. And then Teoscar cashes out with the Dodgers. Every match made in heaven, he's back. Well, yeah, I would agree with you. I think Kyle Tucker probably ends up a Dodger. The Mets are going to give it a run. I would assume they're going to go spend on starting pitching, but I guess the point here is that when you're looking at a player like Cody Bellinger, the Yankees can't exist without all-around baseball players. If you take Cody Bellinger off this team and throw somebody out there with mediocre defense in our outfield, and you say, I don't know, you retained a Trent Grisham, this team got much worse. Much worse. The volatility of this team, their ability to take clutch at bats, and I know your dad probably would just stop watching the Yankees altogether, but he brought up the point earlier this year, the Yankees score a lot of runs, but how many important runs do they score? They scored the most important run you could have scored today. Up 4-3, they never tack on that run. But who did I tell you just 2 days ago, Jake? I would say I want an at-bat in the most important situation for this team. Cody Bellinger. It's not because he's the best hitter on this team. He's just simply not. But he's the type of guy who will grind out an at-bat, will slap a ball the other way. And he didn't slap this ball, but he drove it off the wall at Fenway. The game feels different. We're sweating out the ninth inning if it's 4-3. So, yeah, Cody Bellinger's going to get himself paid. I would imagine it's going to be with us, and hopefully he takes a spot with Yankees Unloaded in the next 12 months. I'd love that.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah, I worry for my dad if the Yankees don't bring back Bellinger.
Oh, my God.
He tells me all the time, this is exactly what I want a Yankee to look like. He's literally everything I want in a player. And
he probably loved LeMahieu, by the way. In his prime, he probably loved watching DJ LeMahieu. Loved it.
No, of course. I mean, when he got over the top and old and everything, then he was kind of like, all right, I'm over this. But
well, sure.
But no, he really likes Cody Bellinger. I mean, we all do. Our entire family does. It's kind of hard to not like a player that's just willing to. You could tell he doesn't look at the stat sheet. He's just all he's trying to do is be in the moment. And there are others on the team that I would not say that's the case.
Sometimes it looks like he's not even
stats,
playing baseball. By the way, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Speaking of stats, Austin Wells was putrid today. Like, I texted you immediately, and I was like, dude, I really believe, I'm a believer in Austin Wells. We both are. We've said that. We think 2026 is going to be a lot better. Yep. That said, okay, Austin Wells struck out 4 times today. 4. And you think about it, right? It's like he literally had more, actually, not true. He had as many runners in scoring position opportunities as Jazz Chisum. We get on Jazz all the time. He does not hit well with runners in scoring position. He went 2 for 3 today. Big reason why they won the game. Austin Wells went 0 for 3. 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. It's like, look, I don't want to hate on him, but the one thing that you've been really good at is lifting the ball. So much so the other day, Ed W comes on and says, look, I think it's not necessarily that they're not like quality outs because they're quality outs. I think they're just basically like missed home runs. And that's what
the sack flies. I would definitely conclude that. I think that's fair.
That's fair. So then why am I not getting that from Austin Wells? And by the way, a lot of those just missed home runs, they're home runs in Boston. So it was incredibly frustrating, right? Incredibly frustrating for him to go 0 for 4 today with 4 strikeouts and have 3 of those be runners in scoring position. Incredibly frustrating. And honestly,
what'd you think of him behind the plate today, by the way, before I get to the whole big picture thing?
Well, it's actually funny you say that. So I think he's good behind the plate, but I actually feel like they're not getting the higher strike like they get when Ben Rice catches. I've actually noticed this. I think Ben Rice is a better framer higher up in the zone. I think Wells is better lower in the zone. I noticed that today.
Technically speaking, I'm going to say this. Mm-hmm. If that's the case, like let's just say there's actual merit to what you said and data behind it. We wouldn't be able to find that on Savant, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's just the eye test, but yes.
It's eye test stuff. But let's just say it's true. Ben Rice, he can frame, he's a much bigger body, right? Much bigger. So he can frame the ball at the top of the zone, whereas Austin Wells can frame the ball at the bottom of the zone. Well, where do we want our pitchers to be living for the most part? Now, pitching high isn't a bad thing because you can do it effectively. We see Rodon do it all the time. But what we've seen, the wrinkle this year from Rodon and what you see from Fried all the time, and you saw it from Stroman when he was pitching well for this team, you see it with Garrett Cole when he's pitching well with this team, is they're pretty much living at the bottom of the zone for the most part. So this is sort of comes back to what I was saying. Was Austin Wells absolute dog water at the plate today? Absolutely. It could not have been worse. That said, I called him a role player. That's what I believe he is. His role is to catch. That's it. He's got pop. He certainly can get you with the bat. Every once in a while, you're not going to be paying attention to him. He's Austin Wells. But he's going to hit 20 homers if you let him play. And he's going to hit 215. All that said, his role on this team is to frame the hell out of the baseball. And that is it. The exact same way I look at Ryan McMahon, and now when I look at Ryan McMahon's at-bats, I no longer have a single reaction to what happens with the bat. Why? Because that's not his role. He was brought here to be a glove. So I basically, if I see Wells and McMahon up to the plate, I go to the bathroom. And if my phone buzzes, I assume we scored, but if we didn't, then so be it. More likely than not, they're not going to. So McMahon fielded his position like crazy today. Loved the defense. Wells, I thought, was good behind the plate today. Thought he framed well, thought he controlled the game, liked the job he did in his role. Offensively, that's not even his role. At this point, I know the ops is hovering around 700 league average. He's not a league average bat. He is not a good bat this year. He's not.
No.
Same with Ryan McMahon. Not a good bat. That's my conclusion on these players. I'm rooting for them to do something with the bat, but I'm only going to get upset at Austin Wells. Only if he goes out there and fails to block a baseball that was important to block and can't frame a baseball that was important to frame. If he can't do those two things, then his behind needs to get off the field. But I watched him today and saw 4 strikeouts, and I said, well, that's Austin Wells for you. That's who he is.
Yeah, it's just frustrating, obviously, leaving 9 guys on base.
No doubt.
And that's the thing. You got to give a hat tip to guys like Luke Weaver, guys like Devin Williams. Cruz gave up a home run. It's not a home run at like any other ballpark, but gave up the home run.
I'm not even upset about it because obviously that's the sport that we play. This isn't football, and you know this, and you cover football.
I know. But I do tend to give guys a little bit more of a leeway, especially in a win. When I'm like, And I'm not saying, I'm not like creating a universe where it's like, we don't count those home runs. Like, no, it's something like that.
No, because when people give up home runs at Yankee Stadium, we certainly count them, right?
Yes.
And so, it wasn't that big of a deal. You didn't give up a 500-foot bomb where we're like, what the hell is that? It was a home run at one stadium. It's unfortunate.
How about the unluckiness at the stadium today? So not only does Bregman get the pesky pull, but then you have Caballero, and then I forget who had the double, Bellinger. Both go over the... Oh, no. Was it Rice? It was Rice. Both go
by
over
the way,
the wall.
Did you see what Bregman had to say post-game after this? It was so funny because when I saw it, and I would assume no one saw it because it was on Nesson. I'm just a
Would I still want to sign him after he said this or no?
Actually, perhaps not. But... No, you'll want to sign him, but it sounds oddly like mid-season. You remember the June swoon?
Yes.
Players for the Yankees? Wait till you hear this quote. You're going to love it.
Oh, my God. Hit me.
Bregman says, turn the page and get ready for tomorrow. Keep plugging along. Keep fighting. Keep working at our craft, and our best baseball is ahead of us.
All right, Aaron Boone.
That right there.
Fit. I think I'm fully justified in believing that he was a perfect fit for the Yankees. Aaron Boone should have just signed him himself. Are you kidding me? He sounds like an Aaron Boone disciple.
The hats are awesome, by the way, though. The Red Sox hats, those are like UCLA. The UCLA B. Those I like those.
I'm kind of over the whole let's have every color of the rainbow when we have a team name called the Red Sox.
That's fair. Yeah, no.
If the Yankees want to do that, I still would be against it, but at least they're called the Yankees and not the Blue Yankees, and they come out wearing pink. It's like...
No, I would agree with you. I think it is a bit ridiculous. And in
like
sports,
the Reds.
We're getting crazy with the uniforms, and young people, they're trying to grow the game with young people, and you obviously saw what the Padres did where they came out there dressed as a damn flag. I don't know what they're dressed as, but it's like they look like they're from... It's like a Miami team, and they're from San Diego. And I'm sitting there going, this is the dumbest looking uniforms I've ever seen in my entire life. It looks tropical.
The City Connect. That's dumb.
And then I turn around
please.
and just like the Savannah Bananas, everyone's like, I love this. I'm like, yeah, like if you love it, then, good for you. But it's not my flavor for sure. I completely get it.
I mean, my biggest thing, Gary, is this when it comes to uniforms. I showed you. I just got the new Rams uniform. Not uniform, but I got the jersey. The midnight mode, right? That they're not even playing in a night game. It's literally a freaking day game. But be that as it may. So my biggest issue with jerseys nowadays is everything has to be a damn lore. There has to be story. I don't care. Make me that in the background of Gary's backdrop. That is a beautiful jersey, Saquon Barkley. Beautiful. I don't need every single detail to come with a paragraph as to why you created it. I just want that beautiful thing right there, maybe without the gradient, but that beautiful thing right there, right? I don't need to be like, oh, well, this yellow represents the hardworking people of LA. It's like, I don't need that. I don't need it also to connect to anything.
There's never been no jersey. It doesn't represent any. It's an aesthetic.
Silly.
And as you wear it for an extended period of time, it builds history to it. And I think that's what makes. I really do think that's what makes
what it is
special is the history of it. Joey Cargo, I'm not going to let you burn into the screen. Oh, the play actually build it.
No. Let the play speak for itself when you're wearing the uniform. How about you create your own lore, right? Why do I need to have... Well, you and I kind of found that together because what you're saying. But I agree, and that's kind of my biggest thing is like, why do we have to have everything be a damn story? And why can't we create stories in those said uniforms? That is what I would say.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Joey Cargo, appreciate you burning into the screen, my man. Thank you for the 2. Says, great win. Also, I'd love to see Fried get 20 wins. Yeah, I would love to see it too aesthetically, but I think he's at, 18 now?
He's at 7. I think he's the first to 17, which means there's a chance no one gets 20 wins this year.
Yeah, which as the years go on, you're starting to see pitchers. We're going to go the opposite direction. I'm not sure what year it's going to be. I have no idea, guys. We're not fortune tellers here. But eventually, you're going to start seeing front offices care less about stuff and 100 miles an hour. And they're going to start saying, we want more guys 93, 94 with high spin rates. But you guys have to find a way to be on the field in the 7th inning. You're going to start seeing arms in the game in the 7th. Maybe it's not 2 or 3 years from now, but I don't know, 6 or 7 years away, because not all innings are created equal. Max Fried being out there in the 6th, the 7th, the 8th inning, it's not just for fun. Oh, look at you. Look what you did about your individual stats. No, those are innings less that I have to go to Weaver, to Cruz, right, to Hill, Bednar. It protects all those arms. So this is just common sense stuff that really old school fans have been saying for years, but this game continues to buy into just throw 100 miles an hour and come off the field as soon as you're tired. It's a weird way to go about the game, but yeah, Joey, I'm rooting for Fried as well to get to 20 wins, but you know what the deal is. They don't care about wins anymore.
Appreciate you.
And Sam with the 10 says, watching Ryan McMahon field ground balls is one of the great pleasures in life. I know he doesn't hit, but his defense is just so pretty. Yeah, it actually reminds me a lot of watching Nolan Arenado, and it's probably not to the same level, and I think we all get this, but obviously how fluid he is and how comfortable he is at third base. I'm going to say this, and then I'll kick it off to you, Jake. I want to know what you think of him at third base, because I know neither of us like this trade. But having said that, when you look at what Ryan McMahon's doing at third base, do you care at all that you're not getting a bat? Or is it just something that as we go into this offseason, you're going to say, well, the glove maybe is his role? Are you willing to commit to a third baseman in Major League Baseball where his role is to just pick it over there?
No, because there are other guys that can. And simply put, we've talked about this. We had this dialogue when we were discussing how third base is a premium offensive position. And, Rafael Devers, he plays third, right? And you have, A-Rod plays third. And all these guys that have, like, Adrian Beltre, like, I mean, Josh Donaldson, they tried. I don't actually hate that they tried Josh Donaldson out. The guy is a former MVP. My biggest thing is I'm just kind of dealing with it as I go right now. Watching McMahon, very good defender. Like, impressive cannon of an arm, right? Can throw across the diamond with ease, can make that jump throw, against his body, whatever. Really good arm. Like, plus arm. And, he's able to pick it well. And he's got great reactionary skills. That said, the bat has to be better. Like, I can't just look at a 6'2", 220-pound baseball player and watch him just hit absolute noodles. I just don't get it. Like, and then on top of that, I don't need him to crush everything. But I just hate the way, like, his strikeouts are just horrendous. Like, the bat is nowhere near the baseball. And he kind of, like, loops the swing almost. And
we wanted something of what we got yesterday, where you have someone like Caballero who stole from second, you get to third base. It was awesome. But then Ryan McMahon put the ball in play hard, and you score that run. That was all we were asking for. So more of that and less pop. I don't need 20 homers with great defense. I think that all that stuff's overrated. Oh, I hit 20 homers and drove in 90. Okay, good for you and your agent and your family, I guess, but this team needs role players, and if Ryan McMahon can give this team anything offensively, I think the impact is a little underrated. I do. This is the same deal with Austin Wells. If he can do what he did last August, where you're like, oh, this is what we get. Maybe if for this 40-day stretch, he can be this player. If Austin Wells can do that offensively, the impact would be massive. Massive. These guys are still driving in a ton of runs. Why, Jake? Because they come up with bases loaded and one out all the time. There are guys, ducks are on the pond all the time for Anthony Volpe. He leads the league still to this day, and he's injured. Leads the league in attempts with runners in scoring position. Leads the league. Anthony Volpe. Also leads the league in leaving guys on base with runners in scoring position. So that shows you how impactful any of these dudes at the bottom lineup doing a squirt, how impactful that would be.
Well, and I'll also say this, to be fair to Ryan McMahon, I'm talking as a whole, right? And as a whole, he's a 217 hitter, 19 home runs, 51 RBIs, and a 704 OPS. But I'm looking at him right here. September doesn't factor in today. But basically, he's hitting almost 260, a 344 on base, a 444 slugging, and a 788 OPS. To me, as your ninth hitter, your eighth hitter, that's fantastic. I'll take that all day.
Right.
So if he continues this, I have no issue. But
we need it. What would you call it? Serviceable. We need serviceable offense, and we need dynamo defense. And so far, don't spare me with the errors, guys. And he made an error yesterday.
Oh, I don't care about that. No,
we do not care.
We do not care.
He has to be a game changer at the hot corner. And the only way you can figure out if he's done that is if you just watch all 9 innings. If you watch the Yankees play, you see how important Ryan McMahon is defensively at third base. The Yankees, technically, by having him over at third base, they in theory shouldn't lose games the way you saw him in Game 5 of the World Series last year. They shouldn't lose a game in that way. They shouldn't. Not that way. So Ryan McMahon's going to be part of the solution towards evading that type of game. Right? Having a Cody Bellinger should help us evade playing that style of baseball on the big stage. So I think that's what Brian Cashman was going after. Is it the perfect fit? Hell no. A perfect fit would just be a great player that's great at everything, but they're not always available. And in this situation, we found a player who's great at one thing, not very good at the other, and he costs $16 million. I guess it's not our money, but we'll be rooting for him to show us something with the bat.
Yeah, no, of course. And, this is a big win today. And, there are a lot of different things that we can say as far as good, bad, ugly, whatever. But I really do like keeping it real. I mean, I think, obviously getting on Wells for his 4 strikeouts, getting on McMahon, I mean, not today, but just in general. Like, I would just say this. I mean, this is exactly what the doctor ordered. This is exactly what they needed. Max Fried didn't have the best day today, but you know what Max Fried did? He gave up 9 hits and only gave up 2 earned runs. He found a way to get out of it, and he got out of some big jams and still came away with a W. So you got to give tip your cap to the bullpen, tip your cap to Max Fried, and then tip your cap to the New York Yankees finding a way to get 4 runs off of Bayo. That's not easy to do.
What's the record in the gauntlet, by the way?
What do you mean?
So,
you're talking...
Yesterday you said there was a 12-game gauntlet.
Yes.
I want to know where the Yankees stand on that gauntlet.
So, currently, I'm looking at... All right, it's 1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, 4-3, 4-4, 5-4, 6-4, 7-4. You had them at 8-4, didn't you? If they win tomorrow, I think you would nail it. I had them 9-3.
I don't remember what I said. I'm not just gonna lie just for the sake of catching the alley-oop and dunking it here.
But I get what you're saying.
It would be because I don't remember exactly what I said. I remember it being close to that mark, but I'm not sure if I was on the money. But
I had them winning every series in the gauntlet, and they won almost every series in the gauntlet except for Detroit. Yeah, I think Detroit was so unpredictable. So you're telling me I don't go up against Scooble and I still lose 2 out of 3? That's insane. No one could have predicted that. I'm sorry.
No, our offense, quite literally, they were a double agent, completely disappeared. An absolute
coming off a day
trick.
Off too. I just don't think you could have predicted that. But hey, that's baseball. So 7-4 right now. For those that have 7-5, I think you're going to be right. But if they win tomorrow, 8-4, I mean, hey. But regardless, being above 500 in a gauntlet against the Red Sox, the Tigers, Toronto, and Houston, 4 of the best teams in your league that you play in. Your
if
conference.
We lose, what was our record? If we lose tomorrow for that 12-game gauntlet,
7-5.
7-5.
That's good.
So guys, 7-5 is great, and I'll prove it to you. If you go 7-5 and you just stretch that out over the course of the season, do you know whose record that looks like against teams over 500? Milwaukee's.
Yeah.
The only other team we would describe as a great team. There's not a single other great team in baseball. There's another team playing great baseball, and in my opinion, that's the San Francisco Giants. But I don't look at their roster and say it's a scary roster. They're just a hot baseball team, and that deserves respect. But having said that, Jake, 7-5. And somebody told you, oh no, we're going to win majority of these series. We're going to go to Boston, win that series, right? We're going to go to Houston, win that series. Little letdown in Detroit. Everyone will go, I'd take that. You kidding me? Absolutely. So I just thought that was big. And T-Bag with the 2 says Bellinger knocked Chapman off his high horse, having a great season. But as you guys know, Aroldis Chapman's not at his best in big games. So let's be real. He's really good elsewhere. And I get it. The cheating scandal probably affected his output in October, but he also has given up some pretty big hits in that Chicago series pitching for the Cubs against Cleveland, right? So Aroldis Chapman can be had in big games, and we found our way against Boston in big games, and Chapman's going to find himself back on the mound, and hopefully he can do his job, because I'm going to be rooting for Boston to beat Toronto in the final series of the year. You guys need to be rooting for Aroldis Chapman. Just not tomorrow, but in a few weeks we will.
Yeah, and I just want to give a shout out to James Swoop 8447 left us a super on the super thanks.
Look at you, Jake.
And
remembering the super thanks.
I got it.
You send it to me. Nice.
Fried better than bullpen guys. Good D equal low pitch count. Boone better not lift him at 90 pitches. Getting ready for my ulcer attack. Thanks, J&G. Oh, man. Here in J&G, we sound like a damn pharmaceutical company.
We do.
But no, we appreciate you. That's awesome. Yeah, anytime somebody leaves the super thanks, or as long as we're able to, we're going to try and always give that credit. And what was... I'm excited because we have our diamond level member that has yet to leave a voicemail that is making her debut leaving a voicemail. So,
she's leaving a voicemail. She left a voicemail tonight?
She did.
That's what we like to hear. Because we figure if you haven't, I mean, then maybe it's just a little confusing, because it is. You got to go retrieve the phone number, but we appreciate that. And Big D PR with the 5, thank you, says Belly has been our second half MVP. Where would we be without his big plays and the hits? 9th inning, put him to Bednar. Yeah, never haven't heard that yet. Put him to Bednar.
Put him to Bednar. Shout
out to the motivator. Yankees Unloaded rocks. Big thank you for that. We really appreciate the support, and obviously you being a member as well. Let's get to the intro to that. Belly's our second half MVP. That's just your MVP, man. I understand Aaron Judge is the MVP of the league. Completely get it. That's more about stats. And stats are important. This is a game of history and numbers, and we're going to root for it. And when we see Judge make it in the Hall of Fame down the road, we're going to talk about all these numbers, and it's fun. But Jake, when it comes to season, just game to game, week to week, and what it means to win, important players play their best baseball in the second half. Aaron Judge is playing great baseball right now. Cody Bellinger has been our most important baseball player on the team. He plays great defense. He makes the right throws. He runs the bases, right? He does everything that you wished the 2024 Yankees could do in October. Everything that we failed at, he excels at. So when you say, Big, that he's our second half MVP, there's no remix to it. Cody Bellinger is really the gasoline to this engine that is the Yankees in the second half. So I'm looking forward to see where this ends. I really still don't have a prediction, but I'll tell you guys what, Toronto has some tough games ahead. Just 14 games left in the season. Not a lot of baseball to be played. If you ask Boone, he'll tell you we've got a long time, but it's not a lot. But guys, when you're playing the White Sox and they're playing Boston, things can go south very quickly for a good team in Toronto. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. We're wishing the absolute worst, not in a health way, but as far as wins and losses for that Toronto team. Go lose.
Yeah, I think it all works out in the end. Toronto's going to blow it, but obviously it would have been nice to have some help from the O's, Good for nothing O's. I mean, you trade away Kyle Stowers for a bona fide, 4 ERA pitcher? I don't know. Anyway.
Look at Baltimore, huh? They were tanking for years to acquire picks so that they can intentionally lose to acquire picks so that later on they can try and win, and now they are unintentionally losing games. Pretty amazing.
They're a joke. I'm sorry. They're just a joke. That said, though, appreciate the Baltimore Orioles fans that follow Yankees Unloaded. You are not a joke. You just deserve a better team.
You deserve our team.
You deserve a better team.
I would welcome any fan like Marion, for example. I know she loves the Yankees and she's here because of that. She just won't admit it. But we'll welcome you in with, look at our community. Yeah. We'll talk to you, right? Virtual, he's a mod here. Virtual is he's a Yankees fan. He knows it.
Right?
Yeah. Absolutely. He knows it. So, yeah, Big D, thank you for the Superman. We really appreciate that. And Peace, I almost said Seat Geek. Peace Geek with the 5 says, does anyone know how heavy McMahon's bat is? That'd be a good question. For a guy his size, he has no bat speed. It looks heavy when he swings, just spitballing. I think the only other player I've seen swing a bat where it looked bigger for whatever reason, I don't know what it was, but DJ LeMahieu's bat looked like a 2x4. And DJ was a big player, 6'4", right? I'm not sure the type of bat Ryan McMahon swings, but whatever it is just not working for him.
You remember that there's always that one kid in Little League or Babe Ruth that had bat, like the biggest bat on the team.
Yeah. And he always sucked.
And he was terrible. And he had no bat speed. And then a coach would just calmly be like, here's a, quicker bat, it'll help your bat speed. It's lighter. My dad, it's like, all right.
My dad says that it's good to train with this bat. I'm like, well, your dad sucked at baseball and so do you. So that's pretty much what that is.
It always cracked me up.
But Peace Geek, we would love if we do figure out that information, and there's not really, I can't just walk in the dugout and pick it up and see what it is. But maybe someone will ask it down the road, and if we figure it out, we'll definitely put it in the comment section and bring it to our show. And B-Rye with the 5 says, can we talk about Bednar? Yeah, let's do that.
Yes.
Said, dude has been a bulldog. He's clearly not afraid to pitch in pinstripes. I mean, let's be real. He doesn't give a rip. He's him. I don't think we truly appreciate how seamless he is taking over the closer's role has been. So, guys, I want you to realize this isn't even just about a closer. This is about the Yankees acquiring players that are in their position. Stop trying to reinvent the wheel, bring a reliever, and we'll slot him in at closer and be creative. The Yankees just got a bona fide closer at the deadline who was simply doing his job for a bad team. How about you take a guy who's doing his job at the professional level consistently, take him off that bad team who doesn't want to spend a lick of money, and put him on a team that you think is good so he can do the good job for you? Well, here he is. David Bednar is not afraid to pitch here. How much is that worth?
A lot.
Put the performance, put it away. There are a ton of relievers, a ton, right? And you see Aroldis Chapman, you see all these different arms, the list goes on. I bet you about 40% of that list of great arms can pitch here. Pitch the same way they would in a Cincinnati. Pitch the same way they would in a small market. The list isn't long. David Bednar is on that list. He is absolutely a psychopath in that bullpen, and thank goodness he's here. Because, Jake, this was one of the names that you put out into the hat. I didn't love it at the time. I wanted more stuff, but there's something else between the ears that he has that you just can't quantify, and you can feel it before the outing even starts. So I love that about him.
It's one of those guys that I wish the Yankees got a hold of sooner.
That's fair. How old is he, by the way?
I think is he 30, 31?
Oh, so we're right here in the thick of it. Love that.
And you got, I think, another year of control. He's going to be a Yankee for a long time. I don't think he wants to leave. I think he loves it. I think he is really... Also, I'll always say this. Juan Soto, I think some people looked at like, oh, he's on the Nationals, so like he's going to come to the Bronx and be blown away. Guys, he won a World Series with the Nationals early on in his career, like rookie year, I believe. So kind of just puts everything, like you can't really wow him. Whereas David Bednar, who's been pitching in Pittsburgh, who hasn't even been in the playoffs, I don't believe. And if he has, then he's had a cup of coffee in it. He is going to be blown away by the Yankees. And this, I think this guy is more likely to stay than most. Like Ryan McMahon, it's the same thing. Now, obviously, McMahon's under contract for 2 years, so it's not like, he has to be wowed. But like you look at, guys like that, like Devin Williams. Honestly, Devin Williams, if he ends up finding success, and he pitched well today and deserves credit for doing so, if he finds success, like, and he realizes like, oh, I can pitch in the Bronx, he might want to have some pull here, and then there's some other guys as well. I think that's the thing. We actually saw, and I wouldn't rule out that even in the AAA portion, like Jake Bird might just not have it. Like, not in general. Like, he could probably go back to like the Rockies or whatever and be fine and figure it out. He might just not be able to pitch in New York. And you brought up a really good point in that Bednar can. Nothing is really bothering him. It doesn't mean that he's had a perfect outing every single time, but the difference between David Bednar and somebody like a Jake Bird is that every pitcher, including Mariano Rivera, is going to have a bad outing. They're just going to have a bad outing. And Bednar's had a bad outing or two with the Yankees. But the difference between a bad outing here and there and just showing that you just absolutely downright can't pitch in New York, they're few and far between. And I just feel like when you look at Bednar, you can tell those bad outings weren't the pressure. It wasn't, oh, being in New York is tough. It was just,
and some
he's going to do it.
Some guys also just suck. I do think Yankees fans, and I mean this as respectfully as possible, Yankees fans do completely overblow how difficult it is to play in New York. Some guys just suck. They suck. And you just need to say that. We don't need to say that, oh, he just couldn't crack it in the bright lights. The bright lights. It's like, no, the lights are bright later in the season, but like, let's not overdo it, right? That guy just wasn't a good baseball player. It's as simple as that. Like, your dad knew right off the rip before he ever saw a single pitch roll off the fingertip of Bird. He was like, this guy sucks. And as time went on, like, I'm not here just go, oh, he does suck, and 2 years from now he'll still suck. I haven't said that. But you can't just crack it up to like, oh, that guy can't pitch because it's New York, and then someone else can, and it's all about mentality. No, sometimes, guys, it's about the X's and O's. Sometimes it's about that you just brought a good player to your team. So Bednar, I'm sure, if you threw him over to the Dodgers, he'd be their closer, and he'd be doing a really nice job. So that's just how this business is. Players don't usually go just simply where they want to go. Sometimes they give you a deal. But the Yankees, I just know this about David Bednar, and this is the best part about it. Cody Bellinger, same exact ticket. If you perform and you look the part, you're saying the part, you just move around and you perform as a Yankee, and everything has been a go. Everything's been a green light with you since the day you walked in the door. The Yankees don't tend to cheap out on those players. The Yankees didn't cheap out on Juan Soto. They offered him $780 million for a 16-year contract. If he wanted to come back here, he'd be here. So I think the exact same thing is happening with David Bednar, obviously to a lesser degree, less talented player, of course. But Cody Bellinger, these guys are going to be Yankees for a while. And if they decide that they want to go to another team over, I don't know, a few $1,000,000, who knows? Well, then you just have to live with that in hindsight. But I'm not worried about David Bednar at all. And that's the best part about this. So, B-Rye, appreciate you making us talk about David Bednar because he definitely deserves to be talked about. And Cedric with the 5 says, I believe we will win tomorrow. That's bold. And it can happen. But regardless of the outcome, we can't have a letdown Monday against the Twins. This is very important. And I'm going to tell you, Jake, this is pretty status quo of the Yankees. They haven't beaten up on bad teams all year. They honestly sometimes would go out there, see the Rockies and see these teams. You're talking more early in the season. They just lay an egg, and you're like, what are we doing against this organization? This is not a good team. We should be beating the brakes off these guys. And the rest of the fans in baseball are like, no, you guys just aren't that good. That's why it's happening. And we said, Jake, no, this is like mental execution. They are just not ready to play. What is going on? Cedric brings up a great point. I don't think they'll come sleepwalking with Minnesota given the standings and their situation. What do you think about that series against Minnesota? Do you think they're showing up ready? I mean, I would assume that's your guess.
Yeah, I mean, the Yankees are ready to play. I think what Jazz said today was very much echoing from a clubhouse. And
yeah,
people might not like it. People might not like to hear, oh, yeah, we've been cruising, and now we're putting it in gear. Because, like, he did say that, right? Like, he said, okay, now we're for real, basically. Well, there's a lot of truth to that. And actually, I don't know if you remember, a while ago, a friend of mine, his dad, Lucky Witherspoon, had something interesting. I brought it up on a show, and we were having a conversation. And he's like, yeah, the Yankees, Dodgers, I'm not worried about them. He's like, they were both really struggling in the middle of the year. And he said, it's very similar to the NBA. It's like, as soon as there's any doubt that, you know, about where they are in the standings, like if they could lose the division, win the division, or even miss the playoffs altogether, they ramp it up. Right. And we can judge that, but to be fair, Gary, it is a marathon, not a sprint. It's 162 games. I don't want to sit here and judge the Yankees for cruising, right? When I honestly don't even know how I would go about 162 games if I had to play them. So
it's easy to say as someone who doesn't participate.
Yes.
People simply would say, oh, I'm paid millions of dollars. I'm running around like Pete Rose. Well, why do you think Pete Rose is remembered as much as he is? It's because the average player just didn't do that. Yeah. That's the only reason we remember it, is because it was an outlier. So it should go to show you just the human element of this game, whether we like it or not. Playing 162 games, you're not locked in for 162. You may be locked in for 42 of them. And it sounds pretty ridiculous because obviously we all work regular jobs and these guys get to play sports for a living, but it's reality. You get used to being an athlete. Obviously, my dad having played, you get used to it. You get used to all the contracts. You get used to flying around first class and all the vacation. They get all used to that. So we have to be real with the human nature that this team deals with, where Aaron Boone will come out here and be like, oh, it's just all right in front of us. And maybe we can start looking at it as they're just going through the motions until it gets important. which you don't want to see that all the time, but from now and again, you should expect it at that point.
Well, it's like listening to music. Like if you're locked in, you can process what you're listening to. If you're doing errands, eventually it becomes background noise and you can't hear it. Like it's just there. You're not processing it. It's a completely different thing. And I feel like when you get in the motion of just, oh yeah, I'm just cruising, I don't think that they're sitting there like, hey guys, let's not try as hard. But I think you do the human element, unless you're a Cody Bellinger that hustles down the line every single time, right?
Right.
I think it's easy to kind of get lost in the sauce a little bit, and it's routine. And you build a routine, good or bad, you build a routine, and you feel like, yeah, this is good enough. And then you need a wake-up call. Like Jazz's
That's probably
injury.
how our June swoons happen. All of a sudden you walk into June, it's hotter than hell at the stadium. Mm-hmm. You see a ground ball hit, you're on the team, and you look over and you see, oh, the ground ball's hit, Jazz hits it over there. Oh, he's basically walking. Now, you don't just say, oh, okay, guys, we're all just quitting on this game. No, that's not how it works. But it, in a way, inadvertently sends you the signal. He's not going 100% like it's do or die. So now you hit a ground ball, and your team's down 3 in the 8th. You hit a ground ball to shortstop to someone's backhand. The guy bobbles it. Well, you were already jogging out of the box because mentally you're just not locked in. Well, that's baseball. And then that's how all of a sudden your team, you look at 8 or 9 guys and 6 or 7 of them are lollygagging. Well, you're going to lose a lot of baseball games. You're not going to lollygag to a win streak. It's not this game, please. So you look around baseball, you see the Dodgers losing, you see the Padres losing, they all suck. Right now, they're playing terrible baseball. And a lot of it is how locked in can you be? How smart can you play? And they're not going to play sharp baseball the entire season, but they hope when that final out is recorded in game 162, somehow, some way, you want to be the team playing your best baseball. And I think that's where the Yankees are right now, and where they are in the standings pretty much forces that to happen if they're going to do anything, which I absolutely love, despite hating that we're in this situation in the first place. And Brian with the 5, thank you, Brian, really appreciate it, says this team is very confident right now, which is definitely a good thing. Better at bats. They took some nice at bats against Bello today. Love that. Didn't expect it. Being aggressive on the bags, and Jake, you brought up some numbers on that, and the team's vibe just seems different. And Judge is getting hot. Do you think perhaps Caballero has anything to do with that vibe? What do you think the vibe change is before we get to our voicemails?
Yeah, I think the vibe change definitely Volpe out of the lineup, Caballero in it. I think the stolen bases, which could be Caballero as well, but I think the stolen bases and not playing station to station baseball and like actually trying to steal and put pressure. There wasn't a stolen base today, but the hit and run with Judge gets him over to third base. I loved that, right? I think we're just seeing more of the little things, like those minute details are being added to what they do, and they're making it their brand of baseball. And the Yankees have transformed over the course of the season, albeit, there was for a while we're podcasting, we're talking about how, this team really hasn't been good since May. It's like, and that was just the reality. And now you could argue, they've probably been, if not the best team, they've been one of the best teams for a minute now. And they seem to have pushed past, those issues. And obviously it's not about, how you look on September 13th. It's more how you look at in October. But I feel like building, we talked about just now, but, kind of building those habits, those positive habits, you reinforce them. Well, guess what happens? In October, you're ready for the moment. And I just think that this is really positive. Watching them win the way they did today. Jazz Chisum 70% swing that we didn't really get a chance to talk about, but that was huge. Hitting them where they ain't, quite literally. Awesome. Did not expect that from Jazz at all.
No, focusing less on, it was 112 off the bat. Yeah. That stuff's great. But if it goes to a glove, miss me with having me spend 20 minutes talking about your exit velocity. I need to see hits. That's what this game is. This game's about execution and results. Jazz did less to achieve maximum results. He's done it the whole series so far, and I hope he's there tomorrow taking
infield
what is going
single.
to be exactly. You just love it. You love it.
Yeah, because if you're not swinging for the fences, you can actually chop an infield single. And when you have Jazz's speed, you can beat out an infield single.
Yeah, not that it's the goal, but
No,
if you're trying to hit a home run, how many players have you ever seen in your life that took a home run swing? You're like, wow, he really would have got a hold of that one, and it chops over to third base. Not often. But the players who get a lot of the lucky hits, where you're like, oh, he just squirted a ball in the infield, the shortstop had no play, held on to it, okay, we yield the single. Those players are the Cody Bellingers. Cody Bellinger will do that more often than not. I bet you he's probably leading the team in infield singles, just so happens. So, yeah, love that from Jazz, and hopefully he continues it. We don't know what he'll do, but that's why he's paid the big bucks, is to hopefully learn as he's doing this.
No, that's for sure. So we're going to do voicemails and wrap the show. We'll start off with Lisa, who makes her debut in the Yankees Unloaded voicemail.
Cool.
Hi, Gary and Jake. My name is Lisa. I became a diamond level member a couple of weeks ago, and I still have not seen my comment read. Could you please play my voicemail so that my dad, who was a 74-year Yankee fan, gets recognized? His name was Ed Gardella Jr., and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for everything you do, and I am going to slap up some money.
Well, we appreciate you, Lisa, and we really appreciate Ed Gardella Jr. as well. 74 years as a Yankee fan that's a long time.
And I am living in Arizona, and the baseball team got here in 98. I literally, in my bag right off to my side, have an 01 World Series ticket. And it's like, you see, and you definitely see it in our comment section. So we're really appreciative of you being here. Thank you for being here. Welcome to Diamond Level. And Jake, look how long tenured some of our fans are. Isn't that crazy?
I know.
I feel like a lot of the other podcasts that we've seen, it's like only, like strictly young
Gen
people.
Z.
It is only Gen Z. And there's nothing wrong with Gen Z, but I think there's something wrong with only having a single demographic in the room. And we don't have that. So this is definitely great. Yeah. 01 was not the best World Series for the Yankees. But, at that time, I think I was a Diamondbacks fan. So I was pretty happy with the result, but became a Yankees fan later in 04. So I was happy to join the family then. And I'm sure at some point or another, long time down the road, hopefully, I can be here long enough to be a 72-year Yankees fan vet. Jake, can you imagine us 72 years down our fandom?
Would we still be doing Yankees Unloaded?
Hell no. Absolutely not. No.
Our
No one
kids
would
would.
want us doing it. Yeah, our kids can do it, and that would be great. But, I mean, they would have to want to do it, and you never know.
Yeah, I guess you never know. But
They could replace us with AI bots.
oh my God, here you go. You had to bring up the AI bots. I knew it was coming. But all right, we move. Guy dropped this at 1:41 p.m. So this is indeed a prediction. We love that.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. This is the game of the year, and not just for the Yankees, but for both teams. Last night we talked about all in, and that primarily meant the bullpen. Well, same goes for the Red Sox. They are all in too, and they have the two best late inning guys in the game, in Whitlock and Chapman. Since the end of June, they each boast around a .98 ERA. I think Fried will give us a solid 6 innings or close to 6. Bella will also give them at least 5. This is the third time each team has faced Fried and Bello. So which players step up? The offensive production is hard to figure out. Although I can see Rice and Bellinger walking or getting in the mix of this. The Yankees should have a heavily left-handed stacked lineup, except, of course, for Judge and Cavi, I would think. Yeah, Cabby. Yankees should have, instead of picking like a score 4-3 or 4-2, I'm going to have a little fun here and get on the wilder side. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Bednar pitch in the 7th inning if the situation gets a little messy. With Crochet pitching tomorrow, the Sox will look to shorten this game. Don't be surprised if you see Whitlock as early as the 6th inning. And before August, he has also pitched multiple innings. And Chapman has pitched multiple innings 14 times this year. So if the Sox are down 1, tied, or with the lead, I would expect these two guys to pitch multiple innings. After the Yankees get by Whitlock and Chapman, my final prediction will be the Yankees winning in 11 innings.
Wow. Okay. So first and foremost,
I couldn't have done an 11-inning game. I'll be the first one to tell you I would have died.
So said Fried was going to get near 6 innings. He gives us 5 1/3. That was money. Okay.
Yes.
Said that Bednar potentially could pitch the 7th. They decided to go with Devin Williams, right? Was with their decision, which I do think a lot of people in our comments would say they wouldn't have invited that decision, but it worked in hindsight. So we'll take it. It kept the Yankees bullpen on schedule and not exhausting Bednar in case of an emergency, right, down the stretch here. So that was awesome. He said Bello will get at least 5. Got exactly 5. The Yankees, in his prediction with the offense, and this was the kicker, said Cody Bellinger was going to be one of the key hitters of the night. Cody Bellinger had the hit of the night. It was really, he broke their back in the final inning of this game and made it 5-3. Guy, well done, my man.
Yeah, that was awesome. I always love like hearing it, and like as I'm hearing it, I'm processing it. I'm going back and I'm looking at the box score, and I'm like, Guy is really good at this prediction thing. So I think Guy adds a level to the Yankees Unloaded show, at least the voicemail section, that I enjoy us having. I think it's cool to look back and be like, yeah, was he right? Like, so appreciate you. And then we got Kyle Malay, who's coming on.
Hey guys, Kyle Malay here. What a wonderful win by the Yankees. A series win. That makes me happy. We need to win against Crochet tomorrow. I doubt that's going to happen, but they need to win. But, yeah, great day by the Yankees. Luckily, those 4 runs held up because that was going to be a bad loss if they didn't get that. Well, actually, they scored 5 because Bellinger got that run in the 9th off Chapman. But, yeah, wonderful win by the Yankees. Let's go win tomorrow. If we win tomorrow against Crochet, I think we're going to win this division. But the stupid Baltimore Orioles decided to slower win, so the Blue Jays stay pat. But yeah, let's all have a good night and let's go win tomorrow. Bye.
Jake, this is the perfect time for the Yankees to pull out Rosario. Perfect day.
100%.
I'll tell you why. Jason Dominguez technically can take switch hitting at bats. Mm-hmm. You're going to throw Stanton, who just had, you're saying, all right, we'll give him the day. You're going to go play, right? You're taking at bats against a lefty. Great. Trent Grisham should not play tomorrow. He should not play.
No.
It's as simple as that. You bring Rosario straight off the bench to take those righty on lefty at bats. If you guys get on base, Caballero, Rosario, Jazz stays in it, pretty self-explanatory. When you get to first base, you guys, the key to this game, you said there were 0 stolen bases, but they found a way to change the game still while running. We need to steal bases tomorrow. That's the key to the game.
Yes.
It could be the difference between scoring 4 runs or scoring 0. You guys have to role players, and Judge has to pull his weight as well. He's been good this series. Jazz has been good this series. They have got to run the bases. It's the key. And I saw it. I saw that here in the comment section. I want to make sure, I believe it was Joey Cargo who came in he went into our comment section and said They need to score early, and I can't find it. Yep, vanished because our chat moves too fast. But anywho, he said we need to score early. Exactly. You need to be aggressive. The fact that we've already won 2 games, they're on the mat. Yeah, don't let them get up in this fight. Don't let them get an inch, not a breath. You throw the first punch, you throw one punch tomorrow, the Red Sox are going to lay down and die. You know that about them. Listen to Alex Cora in the postgame. Alex Cora even said, before this game started, said, Jake, well, let's not even talk about October. We've got to get there first. There's no confidence spewed with that speech. And we really like Alex Cora. We think he does a really nice job. But you want to break someone's back, don't give them an inch. You beat them games in 1 and 2. They thought they were going to win this series because they think they have our number. Jake, we show up in game 3 and even score first, Boston probably lays down and half the crowd is a mute.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. And, you know, I keep seeing Austin Slater third base. Does he play third base? I don't think he's ever played third base. He played it once. One game.
Yeah, and I disagree that tomorrow's a punt game. Completely disagree. This is an opportunity for the Yankees. Is it likely for you to win the game? No, that's part of matchups. The Yankees need to stack their lineup with right-handed bats to prepare with speed and contact. That's how you change this game. It's the only way. Don't try to play it the way that you used to play it where you're waiting on the 3-run bomb in the 5th. It's not going to be played that way. And I know home runs may happen. You guys have to run and play a scrappy brand of baseball for the sweep. If they sweep tomorrow, Jake, the momentum, Toronto has to look behind them and be like, oh.
Shit.
Yeah, as you should be. So if the Yankees go out and earn it, all the credit to them, and we'll be the first ones to praise them here on this show. So let's see what they do. I'm curious to see what those lineups look like. What time's the game tomorrow?
It's the ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, so I think is it 7?
Interesting. Yeah, because we normally don't play Sunday nights. That's pretty uncommon.
Unless they play the Red Sox, and it feels like they always have a Sunday night game. Yeah, 7 p.m. Crochet versus Warren.
And this is fair, by the way. Brian says the key for tomorrow is that Warren doesn't shit the bed. And you have to get starting pitching to even be a part of the game. That's a given, and he hasn't been the best on the road. So 7 o'clock guy, thank you for putting up there. James as well. But yeah, Warren's got to be Warren. But he's got to, I don't know, maybe we should put an Oculus on his forehead, on his eyeballs, and just be like, pretend you're at Yankee Stadium. I don't know, maybe they should fly in like a chicken bucket, let him sniff it, and then go pitch. Who knows?
Yeah. No, that's definitely the case. I'd say this. My lineup tomorrow, what I would do, I'm not saying what they will do, but what I would do,
okay,
I'd have Rice at catcher. I would have at first base, I'd probably go with Goldschmidt. Second, Jazz. Shortstop, Caballero. Third base, Rosario. Left field, I would go with Slater. Center field, I'd go with Bellinger. Right field, I'd go with Judge. And then DH would be Stan.
Perfect.
So I feel like that's literally the best lineup you can have against Crochet tomorrow. What I think they'll do, I don't know. Do you think Rice is done catching? It feels like they're trying to get away from that.
I don't
either. I think you could
see Rice. Yeah, I think you could see Rice catch tomorrow because they probably are saying, well, what's Austin Wells going to do us offensively? It could be such a poor at bat that it's just not even competitive. He's also coming off a game where he went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. Much easier matchups today than he'll ever see Sunday against Crochet. Austin Wells probably doesn't play. Again, this isn't a crystal ball. We don't have Boone sitting here in a bucket who I can just ask him. No. Wells could be playing tomorrow. We don't know. They could say, we just want the glove. McMahon technically could play tomorrow at third base. They could say, we just want the glove. But also, the Yankees have to look at this and say, how do we build a lineup to possibly go out there and scratch runs? Well, if you throw a Wells out there, you throw a McMahon out there, those at-bats against Crochet are pretty much auto outs. You're really shrinking. that window to score runs. I don't see the Yankees doing that tomorrow. I think they are platoon central to try and steal this game.
As they should be. Guy is saying Ascara maybe. Here's my thing, okay? Ascara, and this was actually my issue with calling up Ascara and wasting one of his options. He's in AAA. They called him up for like 5 games. He didn't play, and they sent him down for Austin Slater. So he's actually now on the roster, but they now no longer have options after they call him back up. So genius stuff there from the Yankees. I hated the way they managed that. But yeah, I actually think the one I came up with, I think that's kind of what we're going to see tomorrow, right? I mean, maybe we don't see Slater. Maybe they just say, screw it. We're going to have, they believe Jason Dominguez can switch hit, and maybe they see Jason Dominguez or something and keep him in there.
This is fair, by the way, and this is certainly a way to look at how the Yankees are going to deploy the stuff. Because if you're going to beat Crochet, just even in a hypothetical, in theory, you're probably not winning this game 8-1, where defensive replacements they're not a factor. If you're winning this game at best, you're talking 3-2, 2-1, right? 4-3. The margins are slim. Now, Joey brings up the premise that because you're going to take Rice out and put Goldschmidt in for defense late, you have no more catchers if something happens to Wells. I would just make the assumption that Wells is going to be the backup catcher tomorrow. You're in there just in case of an emergency late in the game. They're going to throw Rice out there because they need the bat. His bat is light years ahead of Wells. It just is, especially lefty on lefty. Goldschmidt's, all of his production for the most part has been against lefties. So why not go to that in one of the biggest games of the year? There's not really a reason not to. And you can also maximize the defense in the infield by having Paul Goldschmidt at first base, who is not great this year, we'll admit, at first base, but it is far superior to what Ben Rice is doing at first. So I think that's the best deployment. I have no doubt in my mind that Boone's going to deploy an all-platoon lineup tomorrow.
I actually think it's going to be the lineup I wanted. Like, exactly.
Yeah, and I think it's got a real shot to work. And Boston is a wounded dog right now, guys. This isn't all things equal. This isn't game 1 where both teams feel good. No, Boston just lost their best player and just dropped 2 of their first 2 games against the Yankees. What do you think the environment's going to be like tomorrow? If they go down early, they're looking at this as a nightmare. As it should be, because it would be in our series, right? You saw what it looked like when the Yankees said, oh yeah, we're playing Detroit. Look at the crowd looked like towards the end of that game 2 in Detroit. It was you could hear a mouse fart at Yankee Stadium. Why wouldn't you be able to? We just lost 2 really important games to a good team we're excited to see. So yeah, Jake, I'm excited to see what happens in this series, this conclusion, because man, this would be a windmill dunk for the Yankees to find a way to sneak a game 3. Toronto would be crapping itself.
Oh man, this is a good question. I agree with you, Gary. I would, because you're going to have Grisham out. So I think I would probably have Slater lead off. They did that a few games ago. I'd have Slater lead off.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have Rice bat second. I'd have Judge bat third. I'd have Bellinger cleanup. I think I would go with Stanton fifth. I would go with Glaber. What the hell, man? No, I meant Jazz. Because same position. I'd have him sixth. Seventh. I think I would go Goldschmidt. And then really it doesn't matter, but I'd probably go with Caballero 8th and then have Rosario 9th.
Yeah, likely what they do. And yeah, Cody Bellinger, in my guess is that they try to float him into the top 3 of the lineup just because his reverse splits are just monstrous. The numbers that he's put up, lefty on lefty this year, just don't make sense. They don't.
Yeah.
But he's done it his whole career. He was doing it for the Dodgers. He was doing it after he got traded to the, obviously, to Chicago. He was doing it there. He's done it here. So I think that's what happens. What's up?
3 more voicemails, by the way.
We have 3 more voicemails? My goodness. I
Yeah.
thought we were done. Yeah,
no,
go ahead.
That's why I would put up the 3. I was like, wait a minute, I don't think he knows. All right.
No, I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
This is B-Rye.
Good evening, gentlemen. Nice to get 2 out of 3 and close it out tonight. Playing for some house money tomorrow. Hopefully they can close out the sweep. Would be fantastic. Nice way to close out the season with Boston, considering how bad they've destroyed us this year. Going through a few notes here. When it comes to Freed, he really gutted it out tonight. It was not pretty by any stretch, but was able to get the W. What do you know as far as high leverage situations? Would have thought bringing in Weaver as opposed to Leiter would be the call there. Nice job by Weaver with those 2 strikeouts. Bullpen as a whole was solid tonight, outside of the hanger from Cruz. So otherwise, well done. A couple key spots, just bringing up otherwise. Got to give credit to Bellinger. That was the at-bat of the game in the 9th. Hell of an at-bat. Great job. Big insurance run. I think that took some pressure off of Bednar. I wanted to bring up the 8th inning when Dominguez got a single and then Caballero got the ground rule double. Boone's got to have Dominguez in motion there. I know Wells blew it awful night for him. 4 strikeouts. No bueno. But you got to have him in motion there. He's one of your fastest guys on his team. He's got an excellent stolen base percentage. I think he's 21 out of 25, I believe, is what it is. He's got to be running there. If he's running there, that run's, huge at the time. Obviously, it's a moot point now, but you got to have the kid run there. I think more times than not, when he even did get thrown out, it's because he overran the bag. Anyway, enough on that. Lastly, there's a few things they need to clean up on, but overall happy. Hopefully we can close up the sweep tomorrow. Forward to it. Hope you have a good night. And to all the chat, J-Dom for life. Let's go.
Speaking of J-Dom, he is probably not going to play tomorrow.
Yeah, no, he's not going to play tomorrow.
But hell of a throw from J-Dom, so I know you were thrilled with it.
Yes.
As you should have been. We were all thrilled. So Jake, probably no J-Dom tomorrow. More than likely Stan. More than likely no Grisham. Some of the, I think, more obvious decisions for tomorrow. Based on how guys are playing, based on how the rest is kind of shaken out, I do think today was really the perfect day for Stan to kind of take a breather, where you look up and say, all right, you're nice and rested. Oh, who am I seeing tomorrow? It's a tough lefty matchup, and it's where you do your damage. So pretty stock, I'd say these decisions are. So, yeah, appreciate the voicemail, man. Thank you.
Welcome. J-Dom for life in Pittsburgh. Crap, I promise to be nice.
Nah, Welkin, I agree with you. I
promise.
do. But we'll talk about that in the winter. Not the time now, but appreciate you. Welcome. Thanks.
Oh, man. Well, who are you getting from? Oh, okay. You're talking about
Wait,
schemes.
who am I getting? Are you kidding me?
I just had a brain. I don't even know. We're okay, though. B-Rye, appreciate you. Ed W. we have here.
Hey guys, Ed W here. Just as your show's starting, love the fact that we got all the RBIs from Chisum and Bellinger. I love those cats.
Yeah.
I'd love to watch them hit. Actually, ran into in Met Jazz the other night. Really cool guy. But I wanted to talk about something that's really been bugging me, because apparently the Yankees seem to be giving incentive bonuses to young players who leave runners on base. Volpe passing the torch to Austin Wells. 10 runners left on base today. Super frustrating. But, I'm going to go on a rant about the statistic of expected batting average. We all talk about how Ben Rice is the unluckiest hitter in the world because he keeps hitting it to where they are. Well, ultimately, if you hit it to where they are and people look back at your ref stat page, you're just a 230 hitter. Well, now let's flip to Austin Wells. Has anybody checked what Austin Wells' expected batting average is? Can we now all agree when we look at it that the guy needs help? Can someone please coach this guy? I just want to know what the Yankees are doing to improve their catcher, because it's not a solution to move Bellinger to first base and have an outfield of Dominguez, Grisham, and Judge just so the Yankees can hit in the playoffs. It's frustrating because that looks like a much better option than having Wells go in there and like try to copy his friend Anthony Volpe and leave as many players on base as possible. And the guy's not a bad hitter with runners on base. I think career he's like 268 or 280. Yeah, I think 268. I just don't know what's going on. I mean, today was a great game, but all the production can't keep coming from the same three guys. So I hope you guys are having had a great day, and thanks a lot for a great show as always.
That was a great voicemail. Jake,
Yeah.
It's funny that he said, well, not all the production can come from three dudes. And the Yankees are like, have you watched us the last 7 years? It's exactly what we've always done. And the Yankees will tell you, well, I mean, that's not necessarily true because we've got 6 players who are going to hit 20-plus home runs. I'm like, that's not production. I know that like maybe they think that that's production, but like that deserves the same respect that we gave. Remember that Twins team who broke the record? And I don't know how I remember that team, but they did break the home run record. And that offense was not a good offense. You see them in the postseason, they weren't scary. They just weren't. So having said that, expected batting average, that was the conversation there. That was the main point, and I thought it was a good one. Because, Jake, my takeaway was, I don't care what your expected batting average is. Like, if it
His is
happened
219, by the way.
Right. Oh, what's his real batting average?
213.
Oh, so it was expected to be exactly as buns as what it's been. So, and by the way, I do agree with the premise that you can hit a ball 110 once a game.
Oh, no, he's saying 210 now.
But his expected is
His expected is 219.
Oh, okay. So he's expected to be slightly worse. They're slightly better than what you're saying. Slightly.
Mm-hmm.
You can hit the ball 110 every single day, but if it goes directly to the second baseman without question, then you're not a good baseball player because that's the sport we're playing. You see where the players are playing and you say, okay, well, they're all shifted to the right side. So if I get a ball in the outer half as a lefty, I should be going the other way. There's opening over there. So you can certainly, I know you can't exactly steer to the degree of where the ball is going, but you deserve honestly, some blame for hitting the ball at fielders. That's what I said about Ben Rice earlier this year, and I said it's not good enough just to hit the ball hard. And certainly, he started finding holes. So that's when we start giving you your credit. Austin Wells, on the other hand, no. The expected batting average is bad. His batting average is bad. He's just a bad hitter this year, and we expected to improve, but the first step to that, Jake, is probably coaching, which is the point of that voicemail, is who's going to coach that out of him.
Yeah. No, I mean, now I feel justified. Ed just basically cleared up my entire point about why I was irritated by Austin Wells tonight. So appreciate you, Ed. And then last but not least, here we are.
Job well done.
Ninja Hot Dog.
Yankees win again. I'm leaving this during the stream. I forgot to leave it earlier. Today was indeed a must-win game, and we got it. And we finally won a series against Boston this year. We haven't won a series against them since last year in September, so I'm really glad that finally happened. Now, I know some of you guys might think this means that we have a better outlook for the postseason. I am still a skeptic on how we're going to do. This typically happens a lot. We saw them do well in September in 2022 and 2024. And the pattern is usually that they do well in the last couple games, they finally beat some good teams, and then they go into October, and boom, they're playing like they played in June again, and they can only win against teams in the AL Central, as we know, and that is just not good enough. And I honestly don't think they have what it takes. They may be hot right now, but I don't think when the postseason comes, they still have any chance. I'm heavily a skeptic on that. Yes, they're doing well right now, but every year we see they do good in May, they suck in the summer, they come back up in September, and then October comes and they suck again. And it's a culture problem, I think. It's a pattern we need to fix. And it's not going to be fixed here. I don't know when it'll be fixed, but I hope it gets fixed soon. Fire Baboon.
Well, we appreciate you, Ninja Hot Dog.
You know what they say. we've got to wait for something bad to happen before we complain.
I
Because
agree.
technically speaking, if the Yankees had lost, let's just say they win that game 1, which, Jake, you said that game 1 was the most winnable game of the year. I completely agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Game 2, we were, maybe.
They're going to find a way, but it's not going to, I don't know.
Maybe that game could work out for us, and we could see it. But you asked me for my prediction last night. I was like, I think we're going to lose, but we're going to fight like hell. Hopefully we win game 2, and game 3 is a wash. Like we don't love that, especially after a game 2 loss. That wouldn't be good. Well, we end up winning games 1 and 2. We can't complain. We can't, because these are the exact games that we're going to have to win just in October. This exact style game. Everyone's saying, hey, good for you guys. You beat the Cardinals and you beat the Twins and you beat the White Sox. Good for you. You're the hottest team in baseball. You played a bunch of jabronis. What are you going to do against Houston and Boston at Fenway? They've beat the brakes off you all year. If they lost these games, Jake, we would all be like, they can't beat anyone good. That would be our conclusion. But then when they beat them, we can't now move the conversation to what they'll do in October. Let's see them finish out September first. And if they can dog walk this really tough schedule at the end of the year, and then it's a cruise from that point forward against the White Sox and some really bad teams, I'm going to be happy about what's happening now. But when we get in October, the conversation should reset. I don't want to have us waiting in negativity. Let's reset the conversation when we get to October. We'll ask them to perform when we get there.
Yeah, no, I agree. Appreciate you, Ninja. Yeah, I'm just not in that wavelength right now. I'm not going to be complaining about something. The way I always say it, I'm not going to get somebody in trouble for something they haven't done yet. And to be fair, last year, I don't care. You know, I do not care that they beat up on the AL Central. They got to the World Series. That was an accomplishment. They lost to a very, very, very talented Dodgers team. Now, you did say last year that this was the Dodgers team to beat because they're going to get tougher. Well, baseball happened, and now who knows what the Dodgers are going to be. So once
whole
again,
bullpen is just ravaged. They're not as scary as everyone except they said if the Yankees get back to the World Series, we don't expect it to happen of how it finished. They're going to run into the Dodgers. Well, the Dodgers have won 4 games, their last 10.
Well, there are people saying how the Mets are going to do way better than the Yankees, and now they'll be lucky if they even make the playoffs at this rate.
They're actually hardly better than the Miami Marlins. So
there you go, Marion.
There you have it. It's baseball is very unpredictable. We have no idea what our matchups are going to be. And guys, do we really care if the Yankees go into, let's just say the AL, they go into the postseason, they run down Toronto for the division. They see Houston. Are you terrified? No, they're not a great team. They're not. We just saw them at Houston. Seattle's clearly not a scary team. They're just not. I get they've won 7 games in a row, but again, not a scary baseball team. You guys know what the team looks like. Detroit, we just saw them, and people told us all year, oh, the reason the Yankees are going to take care of Detroit is because they've been losing a ton of games. Well, any team that can lose a ton of games in a row and be bad since the break, they're objectively a team that's beatable. So if you look up and down the AL, it's beatable teams. We very well could walk into the AL postseason, see a bunch of weak opponents again, take care of business, and go into the NL where there's a lot of National League teams, other than the Brewers, I'll add, with beat up bullpens that really are just trying to outscore you. Flawed baseball teams. Flawed. So Ninja, I'm not trying to sell you that we're going to the World Series. I didn't predict us to make it there in the first place. But it's not a lot of great baseball being played. Maybe we'll play better than some of these teams that are really just not that complete.
Yeah. Well, Gary, I really, I do believe this team is going back to the World Series. I do. And I'm going to stand by that. There have been times where, I've kind of gone back and forth because it's been a tough year. But it was a tough year last year. They had moments last year. They have a chance to win more games this year than they did last year. And they have a chance to do so without Juan Soto. And we were constantly told, without Juan Soto, this team isn't going to... I disagree. I push back on it. And look, as frustrating as Boone can be, He's not the worst manager in baseball. And also, it's a sport where you can get involved. A bad manager can get involved. But Boone can't. It's not like play calling. And we've talked about this. It's not like a bad play caller that could hold back even the best of the best. Aaron Judge still goes out there and he's going to hit at least 3 times a game.
Yep.
Boone can't stop that, right? So that's the thing. Is like I understand the whole sabotage thing and people don't like Boone, and I'm not the biggest fan of Boone either, and would like him gone as long as he doesn't go to the World Series. Then if he goes to the World Series and wins it, I'll whatever. But that's my thing, is that like every time I hear I don't think the Yankees can do it in the playoffs, it's about Boone. But Boone was the manager last year, and I would argue they had a lesser team. I don't think they had as good. They didn't have as good of a rotation in my mind.
Yeah.
Rodon was not as good as he is this year, right? They didn't have Fried. They had Garrett Cole, and I want to also make this clear. Garrett Cole wasn't Garrett Cole. Like, he had his moments, but he was clearly, we found out, he was hanging on by a thread with the injury.
He was compromised, for sure, and you saw that. He was not. Yeah. Wasn't the same pitcher we've seen the last 3 seasons.
He had Alex Verdugo in left field. So, I mean, that wasn't great. And then third base, I mean, I know Ryan McMahon offensively isn't anything great right now, but, he's better than having Cabrera at third defensively.
Easily. As an overall player, he's probably just better.
Yeah, Caballero is better than Anthony Volpe, although to be fair, Anthony Volpe hit 286 in the postseason. Jazz, I think, is a better Jazz Chisum this year, having gone through what he went through, because he had the 7 home runs, and I remember, he was trying to compete with Aaron Judge for home runs at the beginning of the season. Then he gets hurt, then he comes back, the whole 70%. Has it gone away for the most part? Yes. However, we saw it come back today, and now he's starting to streak. I think he's a better player having gone through that. Ben Rice didn't even play in the postseason, really, right? So now you have a Ben Rice that's better than what you got out of Anthony Rizzo last year.
By the time we got Ben Rice to October last year, he was a complete non-factor. He was really an auto out, and you could never say that about Ben Rice now. And even if he struggles in October this year, it would be a development. It wouldn't be an expectation. Ben Rice was better. Not right. So the lineup is better. The lineup's better. Our problem this year is going to be our bullpen. Our bullpen sucks. It's not a good bullpen. It's just not good. Bednar is a good pitcher. Weaver is streaky, and this is more so due to injury, and it's unfortunate. Williams, on the other hand, is as inconsistent as it gets. Some days he's lights out. Other days he's basically having Fernando Rodney in the middle of the game, and you just live with it. It could really work out. He could strike out the side. He can walk the bases loaded and strike guys out from there. Or he could just give up a grand slam and ruin the whole day. So the Yankees bullpen, the fact that we have to watch postseason games of this bullpen is going to take years off our lives. It will. So very inconsistent group in the bullpen. I'm proud of what's there at the back end of it. But man, predicting what's going to happen, I think anyone would be a fool to say they know what's going to happen in October on either side, NL or AL. Just a lot of good, and someone's going to be a champion. And if it's not the Brewers, it's just a solid team winning the World Series, and maybe it's us. Who knows? And Jersey Girl, with the last second, $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Thanks. Says Belly, 6-year, 182. That's big money. Give the man whatever he wants. Ticket on the Greyhound for Volpe. Maybe take Wells with him. Seen enough. ABS. Forget framing. Go Eagles. So Jersey Girl, I am starting an Eagles podcast, by the way. And it's literally going to called Eagles Unloaded. So starting that. So I'm really excited to do it. Not going to spend too much time plugging it. But yeah, if you guys want to do that, you can go follow it. But 6 years, 182. How much money is that, Jake?
You really put me on the spot there.
No, I wasn't expecting you to literally sit there. I was expecting you to pull the calculator out. And I know there's some big brains who are like, what do you mean? It's easy.
It's about, I don't care. No, it's like, it's 100. No. It's 30
million a year. Too late. You're
around
too slow.
that. Around
I'm
that.
kidding. But it's $30 million a year. It's a $5 million a year raise. So would you be willing to give Cody Bellinger a $5 million raise from what we're paying him this year, and then extend it for 6 seasons.
Right now,
That's what it'd be.
I'd do it right now.
Right. So Cody is right now 30. Or is he 31?
That's a good question. Let me
I think
check.
he's 30. Yeah, I think he's 30. He is definitely 30.
He's 30.
So, so you now know you're getting a 30-year-old for the majority of year 1 of that contract. He will be 36 the entire year, the final year of that deal. I am signing that 100%. Could it go south? Absolutely. But all contracts can go south. Every one of them. And everyone says, I prefer 4. I prefer 5. Preference, that's not how free agent. The Mets would prefer, you know what the Mets would prefer right now? Juan Soto.
Having pitchers.
Probably. Juan Soto right now is 26 years old. Okay? Juan Soto will be in his prime until he's probably 33 years old, just like any other player in the game. 33, 34. Maybe he stretches it till age 35 season. I'm rooting for him, right? Want you to be as healthy as possible. That's basically 10 years. Don't you think the Mets want to give him an 8 or 9 year deal and just call it a day? Probably. It doesn't help your team by having to give a player a 15-year deal. But they did it. Why? Because it's the only way you can separate yourself from the other teams in an offer. So if you're going to get a Cody Bellinger and Jersey Girl brings up 6 years, 182, you don't think a single other team in baseball is saying, we would pay 6, 182? Well, if any other team would pay 6, 182, guess what Cody Bellinger is not going to sign? A 4-year deal with the Yankees. He's going to say, give me the years, right? You're going to have to make it close. All free agents say this, Jake. Literally every single one of them, right?
Yeah.
Aaron Donald said it with the Rams. Literally every free agent in the history says, hey, man, I'm not asking you to be the top bidder. If you really want to rejoin the organization, make it close enough, I'll be on your team. They all say it one way or the other. Most
Aaron
likely
Donald
at the
was
end.
saying that under contract.
Under contract. So that's what it's going to be, guys. You're not going to be able to give contracts to players that make you comfortable, and then the player's going to be like, oh, yeah, someone else is willing to give me 8 years. I'm going to take your 4-year. It's just not how business works, unfortunately. As much as I would love the deal to be 3 or 4 years where it pretty much minimizes any risk we would have. So, yeah, Jersey Girl, thank you for the super. 6 years, 182. That is monstrous.
Gary, this is the most home runs Bellinger's hit since 2019.
Yeah, Yankee Stadium does help.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. Like, how much does it really help? Like, he'd still...
Probably a lot.
Yeah, but he's not getting cheapies. Like, when he hits a home run, it's not barely going over the wall.
No, I understand that. But if you just look at the numbers, I believe the majority of his home runs that he's hit are at Yankee Stadium, and it's just no coincidence. It's just not.
Let's see.
I'm not telling you he's popping balls 312 feet and whatever, but it can't just be purely coincidence that a lot of the home runs he hits are at home.
So he would have 31 home runs if he hit all of his home runs at Yankee Stadium, right? He would have 34 in Houston, 34 with the A's, 29 in Atlanta, 33 with the Phillies, 32 with the Reds, 29 with Milwaukee.
Yeah, so basically a 30 home run hitter still.
28 in LA.
He's definitely hitting for power. So I'm not trying to make it seem my argument is, oh, he's at Yankee Stadium and that's why. But
no, of course.
Hitting at Yankee Stadium is absolutely helping him hit home runs. There's just no question about it. That's why we built the stadium. If you hit the ball over there, it's going to help you. Juan Soto was on our team. It helped him hit 41 homers. It just helps. Giancarlo Stanton, he flips balls over there all the time. Anthony Volpe pretty much exclusively hits home runs opposite field. So, and they are cheapies. They're not bombs. They're just not.
Anthony Volpe's, yeah, no, you're right on that one. He has 18 home runs at Yankee Stadium and 10 on the road. And yeah, I mean, he's better at home. He hits 302. He has a 919 OPS, and on the road, he actually only hits 248 and has a 735 OPS.
Right.
I still
so Yankee
think
Stadium helps. I think certain players probably more than
Yeah.
others.
I think his numbers, like, I honestly wish we could just eliminate April because his numbers are so good and April just doesn't tell the story. Having it factored in, that's just not who he is. He hit 302 in May, 302 in June, 323 in July, 267 in August, and now he's hitting 237 in September. That will change. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's just kind of how I see it. I think like May was just bad because of the back. Like I stand by that. And then when he recovered from the back injury, he was much better. So
Yep,
anyway,
and you said it before the season even started. So yeah, no doubt. And Jake, what do we want to put in the comment section? Because I almost want to give, I want to give someone credit. How about?
I was just gonna say,
how about Road Warren?
Road Warren?
Yeah, because we're getting Road Will Warren tomorrow.
I was gonna say just put Rosario in there. Let him cook. You know?
Yeah, because we both agree Rosario should be playing. Drop Rosario in the comment section. And again, guys, he should be playing. He should. Rosario, it should be Platoonville on Sunday.
By the way, next week is going to be hilarious. Our
Why?
teams are playing each other.
What, Rams, Eagles?
Rams, Eagles, week 3.
Gotta love that.
Yeah. So we'll see if
That's
Gary
nice.
and I,
While the teams are at least relatively healthy earlier in the year. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we didn't have it last year because I was in LA. So I don't even think I don't even remember what we did. Oh no, was it in October or November? I can't even remember. No, it was later in the year, so it was after the MLB season.
Yeah, it was almost, I think it was November, late November. But anywho, drop Rosario in the comment section. If you stuck with our podcast after 2 hours, really appreciate you guys being here. Make sure to subscribe to Yankees Unloaded and hit the bell icon to be notified every time we go live. If you're new here, we're live after every game. I would assume 100% of the people who are still listening know that, but you never know who's listening. So, and of course, guys, please be sure to like these videos. I know people will watch a show for 2 hours and be like, oh, they don't need the like. It doesn't really do anything. It does. Trust us. We do not want likes to matter at all. I would like if they just evaporated off the system, but they won't. Make sure to like this video.